they happened to represent Brooklyn, and she and her parents really liked it, and suddenly this was real. And yeah, so I think we were able to punch above our weight with the cast.
Hi, Wyatt.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
I'm very well.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Taking the time.
Yes, no, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure to talk to you and to talk about Settlers. And very, like, I thought that it was like beautifully shot, and you have an amazing cast. So, and also I want to congratulate you in this. This is your first feature, right? So
yeah,
congratulate on that too. I would like to know. Yes, I would like to know the inspiration for the script.
So it started a few years back. I was in the woods with my dad, and it was snowing. And when it snows, it can absorb all the ambient sound, which, at least in that moment, felt very eerie. And I just started imagining being watched from the tree line, someone unseen in the woods. And looked up ahead at my dad in his old tattered coat, and imagined a guy patrolling the outskirts of his farm, and thought about what he might be guarding against. And by the time we got inside, I basically had the plot of the film. But it wasn't until I just had the idea to set it on Mars, or Mars as it may be one day when we've changed it to be more like Earth, or in the process of doing so, that I thought, hey, this is really this. There's a feature here that it just opened up all these thematic and visual elements that I thought we could make for something unique.
As I mentioned to you, the cinematography is beautiful. I think it's like very, I don't know, it's a mix of like Mars and mix of Earth, and the color palette is beautiful. What was like this conversation with your DP, like Willie, right? So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So, I mean, Billy is an incredible collaborator. He's also a natural storyteller, and thinks visually. And so he and I, in pre-production, spent a lot of time together, really walking through every single scene, mapping it out, shot listing, storyboarding, you name it, and just so that when we got to set, we were completely in sync with one another, which was so helpful because, one, it meant that we often didn't even need to look at the plan that we had made. And also, if we needed to make changes, we could make them quickly, because I knew that he knew what this scene was about as well. And so that we could, whatever adjustments we made, would still be true to the scene and how it fit into the larger film. And yeah, and you also, look, you want, with a DP, you say, okay, I want a two-shot here with this, and you describe the shot, and then they set it up, and it's more beautiful than what it was in your head. That's what you want from a DP, and that's definitely the case with Billy. And actually, the color, it's a good question about color, which was definitely a balance in that, people have this idea for the colors on Mars, and definitely the moment you take the blue out of the sky, you leave Earth and you go to Mars or somewhere else. And but beyond that, how saturated do we want to go? And we ended up going for, I think, a more subtle place that wasn't so completely alien.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the location, because you guys filming in South Africa. What was like the most challenge? Like, because it's like in the middle of the desert. I don't know. And I think it must be a little bit of challenge there.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was very remote, and we dealt with extreme weather. Extreme heat. We had a few days where it got into the over 120, 125 degrees, and or in the 50s Celsius, and we also, during those days, there was a sandstorm, which complicates things. but also a deluge. There was a lightning storm in a place where it basically doesn't rain. And we had this all hands on deck moment trying to save the set from collapsing under the rain. But through that, morale, I think, actually improved because we all came together to get through it. And yeah, I mean, I love shooting on location because you do become a family. And it was a really fun cast and crew to work with and be, in an isolated spot together.
Yeah, the cast is amazing. Brooklynn Prince, Sofia, Ismael, Jonny. Did you have them on mind when you're like writing the story, or they came on board? And how was like this process to cast them?
So we, when it was just my wife and I, she's one of the producers on it, Julie Fabrizio. We put together a little pitch deck and had, actors' names. And for Remmy, the young girl, we said, wouldn't it be great to find someone like Brooklynn Prince? Because, there was no way we were going to get her. And then actually it was an agent at UTA called us up. We'd read the script out of the blue and really liked the script. And they happened to represent Brooklynn, and she and her parents really liked it, and suddenly this was real. And yeah, so I think we were able to punch above our weight with the cast, in part because each of the roles is meaty. There's no small roles in this, and I think all the actors were also very interested in working with each other. They had respected each other's past work. So they just had to get over the hump of working with a first-time director, and took a leap of faith with me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I think it's great because there's no like, oh, it's just doing just a like 5-minute role. No, it's everybody's like so on screen with the background, with everything's going on. That's why this is one of the things that I like it a lot, because we can see Brooklynn Prince acting, you can see Sofia acting, you can see Ismael, everybody's like working. I think it's amazing. And also like I don't know, I have the feeling that is a little bit like a sci-fi with Western. You did that on purpose? Like that was your purpose to get to this type of genre?
So for me, I think first and foremost, it is a Western, and that's because it's about people struggling to survive on a frontier, on the lawless fringes. And I also think Westerns are inherently immigrant stories too. They are basically refugees from Earth trying to build a new life in this foreign, hostile place. And that, I think that is true certainly for most Westerns. You have those same themes going.
Yeah. Is there anything that you had on script, that you had on pre-production that you weren't able to put to the big screen?
Well, yes, actually, it's a good question. So there's pigs in the film, and originally in the script there was a pig birth, as opposed to a pig death, as it is in the film, and I changed it in pre-production because it just became clear we were not going to be able to afford to shoot a pig birth in the schedule that we had. You're always working against time, and so there's a lot of pressure on you as a writer, I was the writer as well as the director. So to just rewrite it, and realize then as we were shooting that change made under duress was going to cause an issue. And it's not a great feeling to have, when you're shooting a film. I tried to rewrite it as we were shooting, made some changes, but I realized this is something we're going to have to fix in the edit. And fortunately, with working with the editor, we were able to come up with a reordering in a way of the scenes leading up to when she sees the leave sign, that made, I think fixed the issue and made the film stronger.
Yeah. Do you think, like, what do you want the audience to take away from the movie? Do you have a message to send to them?
not so much a message, but I do, I want people to walk out of this wondering what would I have done in that situation. That for me is what makes this a worthwhile story. You know, it is people having to consider options that they would never consider in a million years otherwise, but their circumstances are so dire that they have to confront, you know, to look at themselves in a mirror and say, what am I really willing to do or not do to survive and to protect my family.
Yeah, and for us to wrap it up, do you have any new projects coming up for you? Anything that you can talk to?
Yeah, so I'm writing a script right now about the man who killed Rasputin. So this is in the blood red twilight of the Russian Empire, and it is the story of this Russian aristocrat who is at war with himself. He's trying to cut out this piece of himself and ends up projecting that onto Rasputin. And if we can just get rid of this one guy, everything will be okay. It's not the war, it's not the famine, it's not the extreme inequality. He's the problem, and if we can just get rid of him.
That's amazing. Wyatt, I just want to thank you so much for your time. A lot of success, and I hope everybody liked the movie. I like it a lot, and I don't know, we talk soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Thank you. This has been really fun. Appreciate you taking the time.
Sure, of course. If you like this video, don't forget to comment, to like, and subscribe to our channel right here.